The series begins with Daphne and Sabrina running helter-skelter. They were being shadowed by a giant who wanted to hunt them. They managed to evade, entering a train subsequently. There in the train, they met a woman named Mrs. Smirt, who wanted to scold them because of the nasty questions they asked. Few hours later, they arrived at their destination, so they came down from the train. Smirt also followed them. Instantly, Sabrina and Daphne met a woman named Relda, which they haven't seen before, embracing them with joy and happiness. Relda also introduced Mr. Canis to the kids. After all pleasantries, Mr. Canis drove them to the house. They entered in and met a dog who scared them. Relda came out and directed them to where they ate delicious meals, served by Mr. Canis. They discussed about their grandmother as they were munching their food. These later made Sabrina, because she was provoked on how Relda was discussing about their parents. She left the food and went to her room together with Daphne. They entered their room when Sabrina told her that they were zooming out that night. Few minutes later, they jumped down from their room to the outside door, where they left the house and mounted through the forest. They were still walking when Daphne voices coming out from the forest. Just immediately, they saw fireflies which they loved from childhood. Unfortunately, it turned out to be a witch trying to hunt them. Luckily for them, Relda arrived and used her powers to clear off the ache. She took them home and cleaned up the wound in their body. During that moment, they discussed why New York was better that there. She also warned them never to leave the house again. She also gave them 2 more rules which for her, they are not meant to be broken. She then left them to sleep well. Early the next morning, they all assembled in the library, where Relda told them that a sizable creature was loosed in Ferryport landing, and it was their duty to find out why the giant landed there. Moving on, they set off to an abandoned land to form a theory. Not long ago, Mayor Charming, who was a prince, also arrived at the venue and was having a conversation with Relda. When the ground started shaking, the prince zoomed off immediately. Relda was already in the car when she begged Sabrina and Daphne to get in, but they were so reluctant. Elvis came out of the car to meet them there. Suddenly, the giant emerged from their back and carried the car, which Relda was still in. The rest ran for their lives, while the giant pursued them. Few minutes later, they rested on a rock when they saw Granny's bag. Daphne and Sabrina, together with the dog named Elvis, were walking by the roadside when they got disrupted by Puck, who transformed himself into many flies. They were discussing on the road when he transformed back to a human and asked where they were heading to. Daphne told him that they were going to rescue their granny, popularly known as Relda, who were held by giants. Just immediately, Puck approached them and untied the rope in their hands. Suddenly, Sabrina angrily pushed Puck down to the pool. They were about going out when they turned back and saw him rising magically from the pool. Sabrina warned him severely not to disrupt them again. They left him and were walking through the forest, discussing on how to meet the giant. They were still discussing when he appeared to them again. This time around, he turned himself into a dangerous being immediately after Sabrina said nasty things about him. They were so scared on seeing that. They then left after he asked them whether he resembled Santa. Forging ahead, in this sequence, we see Sabrina and Daphne climbing a rock where they sighted the cottage. Daphne suggested that Puck should fly over the town in search of the giant. Sabrina, on the other hand, didn't agree on that. Daphne persuaded her to allow Puck go get Granny since he is also interested. They left immediately, leaving Puck behind. After an hour, they were still walking when Daphne was already tired. Promptly, they saw police driving by, so they stopped him and requested for a ride. They entered his car and zoomed off immediately. There in the car, the policeman received a call from Mrs. Donovan to transport the kids to her. The kids, on the other hand, heard their conversation, so they took a courageous step in fleeing away from the car. He stopped the car and started pursuing them until he got tired. Sooner, the kids had already reached their destination. Unluckily, the door wasn't opening after trying several times. In a flash, we see Puck arriving at the venue. He gave them a clue which they used in opening the door. Entering in, he joined them for lunch where them ate sandwich and bread. Afterwards, Sabrina started her research about giants. The rest of them were also in the library researching when Daphne saw a book named Fairy Tale Accounts, written by Edwin Alvin Grimm. She immediately notified her sister to know if it could be useful. They opened the book and saw some informations there. Few minutes later, the dog took the book and placed it on his mouth. Just immediately, Daphne saw a letter coming out from the book. They read the content and decided to go to the forbidden room to see what was in there. They opened the door and saw only a mirror. They were still surprised and was walking around the room when suddenly a monster's voice elated from the mirror. They were afraid. Immediately the monster used his powers to cage them. That's how the movie ended. Stay tuned to this channel for more gripping and engaging videos like this, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.